Should you pre-order Payday 3? That's the question that I aim to answer in today's video, because Payday 3 is now under a month away from release, and people are beginning to talk about whether they've pre-ordered the game or not. Is it worth the hype? Is it really worth getting excited over? Should people be pre-ordering games at all? I want to go for my thoughts on it, because I think it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while and get everyone's thoughts on. But I did kick this off with a poll just over a week ago, because I asked you lot whether you were going to be pre-ordering Payday 3, whether you have or whether you plan to, and the results were very, very interesting, because on the poll, I have 2.8 thousand votes, which, thank you, that's a lot for me, I really appreciate it. 34% have already pre-ordered the game, 22% plan to, 29% say they won't be, whereas 15% are going to be playing on Game Pass, whether it be on Xbox or PC. So that means out of the 2.8 thousand votes, over half are either pre-ordering or have pre-ordered the game. So there's a good, roughly 50-50 split, or, I mean, if you count the 15%, they're playing it anyway. That means about 2/3 of my audience are definitely going to be playing it at launch, whether they pre-order it now or pre-order it in a couple of weeks' time. So there's a lot of pre-order hype, and I also asked people to let me know what versions. There's quite a few results down here. I'm not necessarily going to read through them all, but people saying they bought the Collector's Edition, people would have liked to have played the closed beta, hope for an open beta. I don't think that's going to happen personally, but we'll talk about that shortly, because that's something else I want to touch on. Yeah, after the beta, this is why I want to talk about it, because people playing through the beta will really be what kicks this into gear. So, should you pre-order Payday 3? Well, here are my thoughts. For me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of pre-ordering games, and there's a few reasons for that. The main reason, though, for me, is that I want to see what the reviews are like for a game before I put my money into it. And quite often with a video game, you will get a review embargo that will be lifted a few days before release, where you'll find out about the game, you'll get reviews for it, and then you can make an informed decision. Whether that be watching Game Ranks do before you buy, whether it's reading what IGN have got to say if they talk about the exaggerated swagger of a heister, see what people think, and then use that to make your own informed decision. At least I do personally. And it's especially telling when you have games that don't have a review embargo and you're not allowed to talk about it until release day. That also says a lot sometimes with certain games. But for me personally, it's been something that I've done a lot. I don't see a game very often and then 6 months ahead go, I'm pre-ordering that. It's very, very rare. It's only on the very rare occasion where I know I'm definitely playing a game, we'll definitely have a good time with it, and even then, can you really guarantee it? That's a matter for debate. So what I tend to do personally when I'm thinking of pre-ordering a video game is I'll wait until right before release, if for instance there's some kind of pre-order bonus, and then grab it a couple of days before, once I've seen some reviews, or at least I know for sure that I'm going to be playing it and getting some good time out of it, so that I don't waste my money. That's my big thing, and it's a lot of people's issues. They don't want to waste their money on video games, right? You want to get what you pay for out of the game. You don't want to drop $70 on a game and then find that you play it for 2 hours and then give it up without being able to refund it in some cases, so it's important. However, Payday 3 is a unique circumstance, and that's why I'm making this video. It's not just a general should you pre-order video games. Payday 3 has given some people a chance to play the game. As Star Race partners, we've had a chance to get our hands on the game a little bit more ahead of time than the average person, that is true. We played a few heists, we had access to a full build of the weapons, etc., even if we didn't know all the characters. We've got a good general gist of the game. We've got dev diaries constantly releasing, giving us insider information, and also we've had a closed beta that showed you how the gameplay loop would feel on one of the 8 heists at launch. So as a result, we've got much more of a picture than perhaps you get for some games, and very often when you're pre-ordering a game, it doesn't have a beta. It's only really the big multiplayer games that give you a beta, often as a marketing ploy to get people interested in the game. And actually, in Payday's defense, I think the beta was actually more of a tech test for them. They said that, but obviously every game developer says that, and whether you believe it or not is down to you. But I genuinely think with them in particular, they gave us a build that was miles out of date, that predated even Sweden. And I've seen content creators who didn't go to Sweden have been talking about this going, I don't believe that. You can believe what you want, but it is the bloody truth. We did not play a modern build in the beta. The one in Sweden was more advanced, and that one I think was old at the time we played it. So really, really, genuinely, it was not about playing a modern version of the game. It was for them to test servers, but it still gave you a good feel of the gameplay loop regardless of how old the build was. And so I think that offered a really good insight for a lot of people who got their hands on it. I think in the end they said there were about 250,000 keys given out in total, so it's good that a lot of people got their hands on it, even if not everybody did, but it's also allowed people to create informed decisions about how they feel about the game. As I said in my poll, there are a lot of people now pre-ordering as a result of playing the beta, and that they've got their hands on it, they know how they feel and whether or not they're going to pre-order. So for me, there's a couple of key things I want to focus on. First off, will there be another chance to get your hand on the game? Second off, will there be any benefit to a pre-order bonus? And third off, which version should you pre-order if you're going to? So first off, open beta. Do I think Payday 3 will give you another chance to get your hands on it now that the closed beta has ended? No. We've got Gamescom happening right now at the time of recording this. I think it'll still be going on when this video goes out. I think that you're going to be able to play that until Saturday, Sunday at Gamescom, and it offers you no rest for the wicked, the bank heist that was in the beta and that I played in Sweden with all the other partners, and also 99 boxes. You can play those two in Gamescom for, I believe, a temporary amount of time because they have to cycle people out to try the game who are waiting in queues, etc. But I don't personally believe, aside from that, there's going to be another chance to play Payday 3 unless you're the one lucky person who won the due time to get time competition and gets to play Payday 3 in a prison. So I don't really know what's going on aside from that, but I think it's just much too soon now for them to announce one more beta for Payday 3. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement and hype building up for the game. There's still 3 more Dev Diary episodes to come out, and a whole lot more information to reveal, like who the missing 2 heisters are, which were, in case you were wondering, confirmed by Elizabeth as to be revealed before the game's launch, which, by the way, good. If you'd left that to launch, that would have been a terrible idea. So there's a lot of news still to come, and I just don't personally see them fitting another beta into that. So if you ask me personally, I don't think there'll be an open beta. I think it's a shame there wasn't one in the end. I think an open beta would have been the best move for them, especially to test servers. I think really they could have done a closed beta for, say, 5 or 6 days like they did, and then just have a couple of days at the end where it's open. If the servers die, they die. It gives them a good grasp of what it might be when it's quite busy, especially with Game Pass players coming in at launch. But unfortunately, they did not do that. They did what they thought was best to test their servers, and all I can say is that I hope it works at launch and we don't have the servers dying, because it is obviously a prospect that a lot of multiplayer games face when they kick off. Overwatch 2, anyone? So to answer that question, I don't think there'll be another beta, so if you're waiting to get your hands on it again before the game comes out, I would say don't expect it. So if that informs your decision, so be it. Second off, pre-order bonuses. This is a thing that draws a lot of people in, and sometimes you pre-order a game because you have fear of missing out, whether it be something that is then not later released as a separate DLC, whether it's something that will be released but you have to pay extra for it and you get it for free if you pre-order the game. Is the pre-order bonus worth it for Payday 3? Personally, that depends on who you ask. If you are someone like me who, even before becoming a Payday content creator, was a completionist and wants to own everything in the Payday franchise in terms of a game's DLC, you may want it. But what comes with it? Well, the trifecta loot bag. The trifecta loot bag is quite literally just a suit, mask, and a pair of gloves. That's all you get for pre-ordering the game. It is nothing special in any way, shape, or form. It's a nice suit. I think the mask is alright, but the suit is the big draw for me. It looks good, but is your gameplay going to be drastically altered because you don't own it? No, I don't think so. And also, I don't think it's impossible that Starbreeze would then charge for it at a later date. I'm going to see if I can find any information on that now. I can't seem to find any information that suggests you can't purchase it at a later date, so I'm going to presume that there will be an option to, but you never know regardless, and it is just a couple of cosmetics, so really, is it that deep? I don't think so. However, it's not the only thing that you can get from pre-ordering the game, technically, because if you buy the silver and gold editions, you'll get early access. So let's move now into that section, which is if you pre-order, which edition should you buy? It's very common right now that people are buying the silver and gold edition if they like the game because they want that 3 days early access, and they also want to have the future DLC accounted for so they don't have to worry about buying DLC for the next 6 to 12 months. Fair enough. Will I be doing it personally? I honestly don't know. I mean, I'm in a unique position because as a Starbreeze partner, I am assuming, fingers crossed, I will be given access to all the content anyway, then I can just report it to you guys and do my DLC reviews like I've done for Payday 2. So I'm not the best person to offer perspective on as to what I'll actually do, but if I was in your position, would I be buying the gold edition? I don't know, because I am personally not sure if I drop, I think it's £80 in the UK or $90 on the biggest edition of the game to guarantee 12 months of DLC, unless you're saving a lot of money from doing that. And the thing is, they already confirmed that the actual upgrades for silver and gold will be the same price as just buying the silver and gold edition now. So if you get the base game and buy silver later, it's the same price as buying silver now. You don't lose out on money if you buy silver and gold at a later date. There's not really a fear of missing out. There's no time pressure. There's no money saving there, which, by the way, is good. And I think it offers up more flexibility for people as to which versions they want to buy. The thing is, though, regardless of what content each version offers you and how much DLC it is, the big kicker for a pre-order standpoint is that both editions give you 3 days early access. And for me personally, that can be a kicker sometimes. I know that me personally, I'm playing Starfield when it comes out on Xbox Game Pass, so I have access to the game, but I'm that excited for the game, I may well buy the deluxe upgrade so I can play it early. That is, in fairness, also because I want to stream the game, but that's a whole other thing entirely. The point being, sometimes that's enough to persuade you, and if that is the case, that's fair enough. And what I would suggest is it may be, possibly, if the servers are going to be a bit unstable at full launch, buying the silver and gold edition could ensure you get a few days in of some more relaxed server chaos before things really ramp up on the 21st when the floodgates open and people join. Because like I said, I'm expecting there to be some server instability, but you may dodge a bit of it if you play it 3 days early. That's not a guarantee. This is all speculation. I don't know anything about how the servers will go. I mean, I don't even know if Starbreeze fully knows still. Hopefully they know more after doing the beta, but who knows for sure. The point is, if you want to guarantee a little bit better server action, I would consider getting the silver or gold edition if you're going to pre-order it, and if you're going to get the DLC, it may be worth it. So that's a whole other angle together. So if you bring all of these things together, if you bring together the fact that you've got pre-order bonuses, you've got possibly no more beta coming, so you won't get your hands on the game before launch, and also that you've got the 3 days early access and the different versions, what do I think overall? What do I recommend to you guys? For me personally, as I've said at the start of this video, I'm not the biggest fan of pre-ordering games. However, Payday 3 has given us a hands-on via the closed beta. I've played the game a couple of times now. I have a pretty decent idea of what to expect. I know I'm going to be playing the game a lot at launch anyway. I'm going to be streaming it a lot, making videos on it, but as an actual gaming experience, I've had a lot of fun. So would I pre-order Payday 3? I would. Would I get the silver or gold edition? Harder to say. I do like the idea of 3 days early access for Payday 3, but I wonder if I'd be more interested right now in buying in at the lowest version and going from there, especially from a console player standpoint, because for a lot of console players, faith has still not been fully restored, and until Payday 3 gets quite a few updates and DLC under its belt to prove console and PC are at the same level, I wouldn't blame console players for being very hesitant or even not buying the game until they see the proof. That would be totally fair. So I think if you're not sure about Payday 3, or you haven't had a chance to get your hands on it, but you think you're going to be playing it and you want to pre-order it, get the standard edition. If you're not bothered about 3 days early access, you can upgrade to silver and gold later at no additional cost. So for me, that's a no-brainer. And we don't know yet how much silver and gold edition will save you against buying individual DLCs. That's a matter for a whole other video, but it is fair to say that if you buy those versions, you'll save on the DLC overall. So whether you do it at launch or do it later, it could be good to own them, but you don't need to drop 80 quid in the game right now if you're not too sure. That's my point, basically. And it's why I made this video, because I have had a lot of people telling me different things about how they feel about pre-ordering the game, and I want to offer my thoughts out there. I know, obviously, like I said, as a content creator who may well get codes with access to the game, that my perspective may not be the most unbiased. That's why I've tried to make this video to give you guys what I would do in the position of someone who wasn't a Starbreeze partner, so you guys can get that idea of, as a consumer, what do I think so far? And for me personally, I've got enough faith in what I've played to know I'll enjoy the game at launch, and I think getting the game at a base level at the very least will be fine. And I should also add on, I suppose, the Collector's Edition is also an option here. I haven't bought that. I was considering it, but it's gone out of stock in the UK twice, and personally, it's a big ask, and I'm not completely invested in the Collector's Edition. The mask, for me, has just really put me off a little bit. While it looks alright, it's not an iconic mask, and dropping 120 quid in the Collector's Edition, I don't know, man. I don't know. I need to think about it a little bit more, but I don't think I'll be getting it. If it comes back in stock, maybe I'll change my mind, but I'll see. And also, the big kicker there is, that doesn't give you 3 days early access, and I still think that it's very daft that the more expensive version doesn't give you a perk the lower version does. I think as far as I'm concerned, you could give people a DLC code via the Collector's Edition and let them play the game that way, but there's not much more to be said about that. I think it's a little bit sad, but will I be getting the Collector's Edition? Probably not. I don't know, I'll see. But I'm intrigued to see what everyone else thinks. So if you haven't already told me whether you're pre-ordering, whether you haven't, go and let me know in the comment section down below. Have you pre-ordered the game? Are you going to? If so, what version? I'd be interested to know what all of you guys think, so let me know in the comments section below. That's my video on whether or not I think you should pre-order Payday 3. I hope it's been insightful for you. If it has, drop a like on the video to let me know you've enjoyed it, and click that subscribe button if you're new and you want to stay in touch with all future Payday 3 content. But apart from that, I will leave the video there. Thank you all for watching. See you all soon with a brand new one. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.